Ask and ye shall receive, Leetcode edition. What's up, team? About 22 minutes ago, a cool Latterly Discord community member dropped into the cool Latterly Discord and requested a cool Leetcode update. So we're gonna implement that, Leetcode multi-pattern select. So what is Latterly? Latterly is an open source software engineer career development platform that'll help you learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks. That Discord that I was talking about, you can join for free right here under the community tab. And what is the Leetcode tool, bro? What are we talking about? We're talking about this bad boy, the Leetcode problem tracker, which tracks progress across industry-leading supersets of Grind 75, Leetcode 250, and Sean Prashad's patterns. These are standard Leetcode preparatory regimes. And then we also have our own Latterly kata. Oh, I'm logged out, darn. Okay, let me log in. But anyway, you can pick it by source, or you can look across source and you can pick by pattern. So here we'll go to the Grow tab, and then we'll go to the Leetcode tool. You can filter by pattern, and so currently, let's say I want to work on a DFS problem. Cool, it filters down. But what if I want an OR selection? I want DFS or BFS. I want to be able to check multiple. That is what we're going to implement today. That is the feature request. Being able to compose a list of multiple patterns instead of choosing any one particular pattern, which is currently how the site works. So we're changing how the site works. We're popping us in and we're getting in. It's cinnamon. And then if we have extra time, we'll do some other stuff because there's like a bunch of active issues. By the way, there are good first issues. Contributions welcome. You can go to Leetcode, or you can go to latterly.com, scroll to the bottom, get to the GitHub this way. Let's get to it. Get down on it. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Make sure I got the chat open. Unstable frame rate on LinkedIn. Boo. Okay. Well, if you're currently watching on LinkedIn, maybe you should go over to YouTube or TikTok or Twitch. Hope to see you there. Sorry, LinkedIn. I'm not sure what's going on and how to fix that. Okay. Cursor. Let's open up Cursor. PowerShell, we don't want that. Get out of here, git bash. Just because you're on a Windows machine doesn't mean you need to be cursed with PowerShell. I know we're using cursor, but that doesn't mean that you need to be the one cursed. You can use git bash and it's awesome. So I'm going to cd into Latterly 3, which is the monorepo, and then I'm going to cd further into the Latterly IO subdirectory, which is the Next.js application, git fetch origin main. Some update on Cursor. They're cooking over there, aren't they? They're just churning out the updates. I'll update that later. I'm going to grab the GitHub ID so I can construct a feature branch. Git checkout-b 566. We will call this Leetcode multi-pattern. Multi-pattern select. That's the feature branch name. I'm going to reset hard on origin main. I prefer that on a fresh branch to rebasing or merging. It avoids the need to deal with potential code conflicts. So I'm guaranteed to be even with tip of tree. Okay, I'm gonna hold this open in the background. We're not doing anything with it yet because there's no code change yet. I'll just keep that tab open. You are a real software developer when you have a minimum of 12 tabs open. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cool, and then some. That's because I am actually a staff software engineer. Okay, that was a joke, by the way. If you're new to the whole coding thing, it was actually funny. Ask your friends who know about programming. So we got the Leetcode tool. Now I need to run my local. So to run my local, I'm going to npm run dev. Next.js developer server on localhost 3000. We're using Chrome because we're, again, actual software developers. We don't play around with like Microsoft Edge or any of that silliness. You are my fire. And this is it, right? Okay, so here's the Leetcode tool route. We're using Next.js, which uses directory-based routing, file-based routing, so I'll Control-P, Control-V, delete that prefix slash, and I'm looking for, here I can see, page.tsx, which is inside of the Leetcode tool directory. So this is the bad boy that I'm looking for. What's up, bad boy? This is the Leetcode tool page. In case you're not familiar with React and Next.js, React allows us to export JavaScript functions that utilize an HTML-like syntax. So this kind of looks like HTML, right? But it's not. It's JavaScript. It just has a syntax that looks and vibes like HTML. And one of the giveaways that this is React and not HTML is that we are defining custom components. And that's what React is all about. You're able to define your own custom components and mix it in with HTML. And then it compiles eventually to real HTML, and that's how we get websites. So what do I want to change here? I want to change the filter thingy. I don't know what it's called. This thing says filter. It's probably one of these. Pattern name filter. You gotta love a well-named component. I just know intuitively this is the right one. Okay, so I can go over here and prove it. I can say, I'll make a I'll make a paragraph, banana. I'll say style equals color red, just to prove that we get that text on the page. You see it's right here, and it's right next to the pattern. So we basically have done a strong indication, even though it was indicated just by the name alone, but now we've even further confirmed that this component is the one that we want to change, because I want to be able to check multiple. That's what we're doing here. Make sense? Okay, let me revert that. That was just a little developer debugger trick from the 1990s when you needed to do a inline style to detect your element. I'm dating myself. I'll leave it at that. You can guess how old I am. Okay, cool. I know stuff that happened in the 1990s. Okay. I'm going to take the easy way out, fam. I'm just going to ask Cursor here. We want to change this, but I'm going to let it do all the heavy lifting. So with this component, I'm not going to get into the details of altering the select. I'm going to let Cursor take care of that, and then I will play the role of reviewer. GPT-5 cooks. I like it. I'm a fan. I don't know if I have to pay extra for that. I'm going to leave it on. And yeah, if they bill me a lot, I'll stop using it. But I think it's the same cost equivalent of Gemini 2.5, which would be the alternative model I would choose. And I don't have max mode on, so I don't think it's going to charge me an arm and a leg, but we'll find out. So first I want to give it the AI instructions for the repository. I think here I call them Copilot instructions. So I'll fuzzy type laterally Copilot instructions. There's the txt file. So this is boilerplate instructions tailored to this code repository. It's going to give the folder structure, layout, the README content, the package.json. All of those details are crucial to the implementation. When you implement something in React, the way that you implement it, the keywords that you use, the syntax that you use, will vary by the version of React. So this is a high leverage data element to include in the context window. So we got a fresh new chat here, so I'm going to load it up with these Copilot instructions. Then I'm going to give it the page. Then I'm going to give it the pattern name filter. So the pattern name filter will expose some state. It will expose some state through the router, actually. So it's going to change here. I'll show you. So here, if I pick filter by patterns and I pick like 2 pointers, you see the route changed? That is how the inner component is exposing that state to the parent component. There are other ways to do this. I could use state props, I could use context, but I like this way. It's pretty nifty in my opinion. So this component, when you do a thing, on change, it will change the router, and then this page will detect the change and apply the logic to in the Leetcode list component. Okay, it's not in the parent. It's actually in a sibling component. So I'm using the router here. This would be a case where you might reach for use context, because you have a parent component who can create the context and pass it to 2 children, and they can communicate sideways through the use context API. In older years, you might have used Redux, but we shouldn't be using Redux today. Okay, but I like the router. It's a pretty clean primitive. So I'll give it all these details. So Cursor will have in mind the Trinitarian relation, the 3 component, the subtree, with the parent and the 2 siblings. So it should be able to envision the right implementation with this scope. What we're trying to do is, before we submit the first prompt, we're trying to provide the relevant context so that ideally Cursor can one-shot it or get pretty darn close. And then review is quick and easy, and we go sip mimosas in Puerto Rico. Okay, that's the goal. We clear? Dub in the chat for Puerto Rico. Let's go. Love the tax rate there. Let's go. Cool. So I'll describe what I'd like to do, and then I avoid commanding prompts. I go for descriptions and then suggestive questions. That way, if I'm asking the wrong thing or suggesting the wrong thing, Cursor is empowered to push back, this time vis-a-vis ChatGPT 5, GPT version 5. So if it feels strongly that this is like the wrong direction, it'll let me know. And it will tend to do that more strongly, it'll push back more strongly if I use suggestive question-based prompts instead of commanding prompts, where due to the reinforcement learning with human feedback, if you use a prompt that looks like a command, the system will tend not to push back. Even if you gave it a bad command, it will just follow the command because it's trained to follow your instructions. But if your instructions include a question, they're more likely to push back, which is actually what I want. And I do this with AI systems and humans. When I'm proposing a design to humans, I like to have a proposal-based question and ask and encourage even feedback so that I can get alignment, get support, get feedback, make the deal better, then implement it. This is detailed in the Latterly blog, the sandwich model for prompting. So we give it some context, we go back and forth in the middle of the sandwich, and then we have hard gates at the end, including automated tests, review, stuff like that. So we can assure quality. Okay, let's do it. What do I want to say here? I want to say, currently, the pattern name filter component enables a user to select a single Leetcode problem pattern. The page then renders a list of problems in the Leetcode list. I guess it's a capital C, let's keep it consistent. Leetcode list subcomponent. I would like to change this. And here I'm going to use a given when then, kind of like an agile user-driven instruction. Like what do you call those things? As a user, whatever. I forget. As a user, I would like to be able to select multiple patterns and generate a list that includes any of the patterns. I think that's good enough. You could do the so that I. So do I want to suggest the implementation here? I think I want to leave it, I don't even want to propose an implementation. I just want to see what it does. Checkboxes, pros and cons, right? Do I want to suggest checkboxes? I do want to be thinking ahead to what I expect before it generates it. And that's what I expect. I expect it's going to go for a checkbox list approach. Well, let's see what it does. We might need to define the promotional period ended. Okay, that's fine. Let me go to my cursor settings and try to get 2.5. Models, Gemini. I don't know why they hide it down here. Gemini Pro Preview, Gemini 2.5 Flash. I like the Pro if I can. Look, I like Gemini. Y'all can hate on me, but I like it. Okay, so I'm going to go for 2.5 Pro Preview. Okay. So I think a proper implementation will use a new checkbox list component. And I don't think we have that in the repo, so we might need to go make that. So I'm going to, while it's processing, I'm going to go open the components directory and browse and see what the nearest neighbor implementation would be. So this is going to be source. Where do I have my components? This lib folder is empty. Let me get rid of that. Do I have server components? Nope. It's going to be under app. Core. Yep, it's in core. Core components. Okay, We have these this is the typical style in the laterally repo, labeled autocomplete field. This will probably be the nearest neighbor. So it's a field select input. Maybe a checkbox field, labeled checkbox field. I think this is a one-off checkbox though. Yeah, it's just an input type checkbox. A chip collection. Yeah. Effectively, we want a chip collection here. Okay, so we'll go through the motions with whatever it does, but then I will suggest, what do you think about using a labeled chip collection? I'll do that as a question, not a command. Does that make sense? I'll say, what do you think about using a labeled chip collection in this case? And let's go get a reference implementation that's using it. That will be another useful context. So the settings form is the unique consumer of the labeled chip collection at the moment. Yep, so if you have like multiple reasons for networking or multiple skills, you'll be able to effectively check multiple, but they're going to use these unique chip components. You'll see what they look like whenever they're shown. I expect the language model to be happy with the chip component idea. This is weird though. What's up with all this? Cannot find next navigation or its corresponding type declarations. I'm not sure why that's happening. Let me go look in my Copilot instructions. Oh, did I give it the Python instructions? I guess I have two of these Copilot instruction files. Yeah, I gave it the Python instructions. Sorry, my bad. There should be a... No. This should be the right one. Act as an expert web developer to help me resolve a concern. Here's the package JSON. These are node commands. Yeah. So it's generated in the Python folder because the generating script is a Python script, but it's with respect to the full repository. All right, let's just see what the UI looks like. So this is what we got. Filter by patterns. Tree algorithms. No, this doesn't appear to be working. What have you done here? Oh, okay, that's why we're getting this issue. You see source app Leetcode whatever is outside of the context of my repo. So this happens sometimes. It's called an anchoring problem. I might need to create a whole new chat. Once this anchoring problem occurs, the system often snowballs and it's hard to prompt it out. It's hard to steer it out of this problem. Okay. Okay. So the way that I'm going to try to steer it out is I will get the correct Leetcode list full path. Leetcode list tool, this one. You should update this path, not just that is out of repository scope. This one is more commanding, right? This was not meant to be a question. So I'm going to wait until it ideally fixes the situation, and then I'll delete these straggling files. You're absolutely right, OGs. Classic language model move, right? Please let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. Yeah, you can update the files that... Yes, update the file, oh, did it lose context? You used to be able to see everything in the context window right here. It's like the style is different now. So I'm going to say, yes, please update the correct paths and delete the straggling files out of repo scope. Okay, so we'll accept this. Looks like it deleted the correct locations. So let's see if it can find the new proper locations. In the meantime, I'll delete this containing folder outside of the scope. This might be like a Windows compatibility issue. It wants my Windows admin permission. All right, that was weird. Cool, and now I'm seeing a more minimal diff, which is what I expect. Good. This is what I expected to happen the first time, actually. So we effectively re-steered it, I guess. Search params get all patterns, so now it's a get all. Good. I'll stage these. Let's do a functional test, and then I will commit. Okay, so it's effectively built chips here. Let's do DFS and BFS. So if I pick only DFS, I get 6. Okay, now we're closing that. Now I pick only BFS. Oops, sorry, my bad. And I get 3. And now what if I pick DFS or, and I love the typing, BFS. What if I click both? I'm still only seeing 6. Let's see, who had the 3? Clone graph. Because they can be done with either pattern. Okay, this is a non-definitive test case. Let's pick 2 pointers. 2 pointers, I got 8. If I get rid of the DFS, now I'm down to 2. Okay, that checks out. Those are distinct problems. So you wouldn't be doing DFS for 3 sum, for example. Okay, so I think it works. I don't even think it looks bad. Let's check mobile view. Honestly, y'all, this could be better than what I was thinking. So again, this is one of those reasons that we like let it do its thing, take the sandwich model, let it do its thing, and only go back and forth if needed. I kind of like this. Code change is minimal. The Leetcode list for sure, I'm loving. Over here, we're getting the tool from React Multi-Select, React Select. Did I install this in the past? I don't remember installing this. Okay, so it's the same thing used under the hood by the labeled autocomplete field. I guess the difference will be we're not using a label here. Well, there's a label. How's that thing used? So it seems like I've forgotten that the autocomplete field works just as well as the chip thing. This is really concise. We're actually getting a net loss on lines of code. So I'll try out the other, but if it ends up being super verbose, I'm actually going to prefer this. Feet, multi-select pattern. Okay. Leetcode, labeled chip collection, labeled autocomplete field. This looks good to me. Optionally, what do you think about using a labeled chip collection or labeled autocomplete field? And the reason that I ask this is, to my knowledge, React Select is never directly imported by a final component. Yeah. But the labeled autocomplete field is used in at least one place. Yeah. It's actually used in multiple places. In the repo, we don't directly use anywhere else. It's usually used through the labeled autocomplete field component. So let's see. I think I gave it a bias such that it will accept that proposal. The language models have a psychophancy bias. That means they try to do what they think you want them to do. By suggesting the context that like elsewhere, this is how we do it, it's really likely to give in to that suggestion. But if it pushes back, that's a pretty strong signal that it's not a good use here. And even if it accepts that suggestion, if I think it looks ugly or if a functional test reveals that it's unwieldy, I'll deny my own suggestion ultimately. So really the goal here is to see how the alternative looks and give it a try. See how it vibes. Make sense? Chat, where you at? Dr. Smooth, welcome in. All right, TikTok, NFL Glass Tips, welcome in. This is interesting. I've always wanted to start but don't know where. Join the Discord, community Discord, and we'll get you started. Open source contribution. Something 341. How many designers at your company? 0. It's just open source contributors. How many people have contributed to Latterly? I think it's like 6, 8. There you go. So I don't think that any of these, any of the contributors are designers. We just do it ourselves. Fine, I'll do it myself. Thanks for the questions, thanks for being here. Consider throwing a like on the video so the algorithm will send the video around and we can spread tech, AI, programming literacy. Thank you so much. Also consider following the page. If it's your first time joining the stream, thanks so much for being here. Okay. I don't need this anymore. So it's accepted my proposal here, and the implementation is changed. And using this tool looks a lot more complicated, actually. So we've increased the lines of code by like 50%. Oh, it wants to change the autocomplete field itself. I don't like that at all. It's an excellent point. It's always better to use existing abstractions. Label chip collection is great for free-form text inputs. They are correct. But the autocomplete field is the way to go. That is correct. However, it currently only supports single selection. Okay, in that case, no, I don't want to use this thing. It's a distinct concern, separation of concerns. So I'd rather create a distinct component. But let's look at the look and feel. Honestly, y'all, I cannot tell a difference in the style except maybe the border color has changed. So I don't even like this. So I'm gonna revert it. We're gonna revert it. We'll go back to the way it was. We tried it out. All right, should we move? That solves this feature requirement. So this issue is closed. Here, let me go ahead and launch this PR. Closes 566. We'll create that PR, get it building, get those automated checks running. Thank you so much for the likes. Heidi, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Why don't we do another issue? All right, so we took care of this one. How about this journal bug? So Latterly has a journal. So if I go to grow, or actually if I just go to the home page, after you're logged in, you'll see the career journal front and center. You can set up automated reminders. They're disabled by default, but you can pick daily, weekly, or monthly. This is useful if you want to remember to document your brags in your brag book. This is great for career acceleration. There's also lots and lots of research from Harvard and others showing that journaling improves mental health. And so mental health is like a problem in the tech world, particularly if you're a remote worker. And so this can potentially help with that and accelerate your career as well. All right? Here's the issue. The issue, you see it says showing 10 of 12 entries. Cool. If I scroll down and I want to load more, boop. It doesn't append, it replaces. And that is undesired behavior. I would rather paginate or append. Because now I have no way to get back to the prior state other than refreshing the page. Oh, also I can look at my graphs. Let me see if those are still working. Your happiness. No, my happiness is down, bro. We're not going to talk about that though. I love graphs, dude. I love my graph. Do y'all like my graph? G in the chat for graph if you like it. So, what are we doing here? Let's ask Cursor's opinion. It can serve as a rubber duck. It can serve as a rubber duck. So I'm going to say, let's switch gears and work on a new issue. Exclamation point, because it costs me nothing. It costs me nothing to be excited. I don't know, I haven't tried this. Let's try something new, chat. Can I just send this issue to Cursor? Will it be able to read the GitHub page? And then I'll like to provide it the relevant context. So here, journal, entry list.tsx is a related component. Oh, this is a big boy. Might want to split this component up. Control C, Control Shift F, Control V. I'm going to find the consumer. That's this page. This is the journal page. So I'm going to pass in the journal page, pass in the journal entry list. And I'll ask, should we append additional results when the user clicks load more? Or should we use a more classic pagination approach where the user views one page of results at a time? The issue currently is that the user clicks load more and the new page replaces the old. Then there is no way to get to the prior state besides refreshing the web page. Adam, what's up, Adam? Good to see you here. See who we've got on Twitch. Am I offline on Twitch? I can't tell. There are either 0 or 1 people from Twitch. Bummer. Let's get those numbers up. Let's get those numbers up, chat. Almost 2,000 likes. 1988. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Jay in the house? Let's go. You know it's good when Jay's in the house. And now we're over 2,000 likes. See? As soon as Jay shows up, that's it. Game over. So what are we doing here? I'm going to blindly keep all, but then I'm going to review through the git diff. This is my preferred way. This is my preferred way to do the AI code review. So it has a cursor. This is a cursor in the sense of pagination cursor. So whenever you use a SQL query, if you want to query for a page that is a finite range, maybe you want 10 records. You want those records from 90 to 100 by index. The cursor is the offset index. So it's a number that informs the system where to begin a page of record selection. Okay, that's what we mean by cursor here. So it's removed the cursor and it's created a show filters boolean. Heidi says, what's your Twitch? Oh goodness, let me look it up here. So let's pretend that I'm on TikTok. TikTok. Okay, then I click this thing. Oh yeah, I used to point you to all my socials, but now I just point you right to premium because I'm trying to make money. Not John's Linktree. Not John's Linktree. So here's all my socials. This is also open source. You can copy this not Linktree site if you want. And my Twitch is just John Vanderveer. Good luck spelling my last name. There you go. Screenshot it. 1, 2, 3, and we're done. Thanks for the question, Heidi. All right. Elok, welcome on YouTube. Good to see you. So, Here I have load more, let's click it, and it's an append approach. It's an append approach. I'm fine with that. So cursor says, thank you for flagging this issue. You've accurately described the problem. Regarding your question about pagination versus a load more approach, I recommend we stick with load more functionality, but make it append new entries. This is a more modern and seamless experience. You hear that, chat? Google, according to Google, we have a more modern and seamless experience. Rock and roll, right? That's what we're aiming for. That was a little bit sarcastic because these things are going to tell you you're awesome even when you're not awesome, right? The AI's psychophancy bias, they lie to you. They're like, you're a genius. You're actually like not. But I'll take the compliment anyway. Thanks, Google. The issue is that the component is using a standard query that refetches and replaces data every time the cursor changes. Okay, so that's the reason it deleted the cursor. It makes sense. Here's my plan. I'll modify the list to use infinite query from TRPC. I love it. I didn't even know about that. I would have had to do a Google search and like research to figure that out, right? It just knew. Use infinite query is a thing. Thanks. Thanks, language models. Thanks, AI coding assistant. Gemini 2.5 Pro says, next I'll update the component to correctly accumulate the pages that are loaded. So I'm going to be looking for the data structure. What data structure are we using to retain the current state for render? When I do my peer review, I'm looking for that. Because we deleted the cursor, so like how the hell do we know what's going on? There's got to be a thing. Finally, I'll update the load more button to trigger the query. And we did the functional test, so we know that that part works. All right, let's go look through the code. We got these filters. I still don't know what the filters are referring to. So I'm going to got that on my clipboard. I'm going to Control F, Control V on that in a minute, but first I'm going to continue reading through. Use utils. What is this? Why are we using these utils? I want to know the answer to that. So we've dropped the cursor from the use memo. That makes sense. There's no cursor anymore, so we shouldn't be memoizing on it, okay? We're going to fetch next page with so that's part of the use infinite query API, okay? Looks good to me. Next page params includes last page.next cursor. So this is encapsulated in that use infinite query. This is kind of hotness. This is kind of legit city. It internally encapsulates the state of the cursor position. TRPC, another dub for TRPC. They keep winning, dude. They keep winning. React Query keeps winning. That looks good to me. All right, and so here's a funny thing we're going to do. Instead of refetch, we're going to await the invalidation utility. So that's why we're importing utils. It makes sense now. So we're going to forcibly invalidate this particular query. Otherwise, I'm not seeing a lot of change. There's a change to the comment, okay? Memoize the function to prevent recreation. Now we're just saying memoize the function. More concise comment, I'm happy with it. More concise, more accurate. We don't need to reset the cursor, cool. We don't need to reset the cursor, cool. We reduce our need for, oh, and this also answers the question, where's the data structure encapsulating the entries? It's right here, in data. This is gonna come from the infinite query thingamabob, right? Data, yep, it's right here, destructured. It's destructured from that query call. So it all comes back to the use infinite query. What a legit piece of art. We have safe navigation with the question mark. I'm happy about this. And we net out with more functionality, less lines of code. More functionality, less cursor for the win. Exactly. Cesar, exactly, bro. Okay. I have nothing to complain about. Okay, so yeah, I'll call this a fix in my opinion. Even though arguably it's like a feature enhancement because it never existed, it's not like a thing broke, but still from a user experience point of view, that would be expected to work. It's like the bare minimum, right? Like what was going on previously was callable as a bug. So the solution to a bug would be a fix in conventional commit. So here I'm gonna say fix, what are we fixing? We're fixing load more journal append. Fix load more journal append. Commit that, push that. Now we're looking on GitHub. Okay, so the prior build passed all tests. Love to see it. Now we're waiting the new build. The commit has been received. Vercel is doing its magic. So we're going to close 2 for the price of 1 here. Journal bug load more replaces list. So I'll update the description. I'll say closes number 565. We got 2 of them. Now I just want to track this build to make sure that it works. It's running tests. Here's our code coverage. Hey, we only have about 60% branch coverage. Thanks for the follow, by the way. Appreciate the likes. So if you're interested in getting into open source development, one low-hanging fruit thing that you can do, it's not too difficult in my opinion, your mileage may vary, it's an opinion, right? Is improving the unit test coverage in the Latterly repository. So just go open one of these actions, find anything that looks low coverage. Like here's some zeros. So you could just do a PR to test this page, the perks page. I'll be happy to accept your PR. I'll give you a shout out on LinkedIn. I'll do a TikTok talking about how cool you are and everyone should hire you. Okay? While I was yapping, the tests pass. Here's the build. Let's look at the build progress, build logs. Page is compiled successfully. Okay, it took about 500 milliseconds to create all the serverless functions. If it was any faster, they would have to actually force Sonic the Hedgehog to live in the computer chip. That would take like a weird refactor, so I don't blame them for not doing that. And I think the build is complete now. Yeah, we're ready. We have a preview environment. Let's go check the preview environment. Please don't merge. Please don't merge if you haven't checked that the preview environment is functioning. Okay? So here's our preview environment. Love Vercel for that. Feature branch level, ephemeral environment. I'm logging in. Who am I? I guess I'm... That's not my password. What's my password? I don't know who I am. Yo! Password reset required. Why, bro? Are y'all trying to hack me? Okay, don't hack me, dude. I'm a nice guy. This looks good. We'll save that entry. Save that entry. Free tier users can create 1 per day. Oh, got him. Actually, that's intentional. So this sample user that I've logged into is permissioned at free tier, so it's gated. So I'm not going to be able to replicate the load more experience. Mick Skornick, what's going on? HR? What's the HR mean? Sorry, I'm old. What do you mean? All right, I'm seeing no functional errors. This looks good to me. Merge it. All right, chat. That's it. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you on the Discord. Once again, latterly.io. Like you're climbing a ladder. You know what a ladder is, right? Ladder, and then you add the ly, so latterly.io. Discord is under